What's up guys, Josh here, and today we're going to be talking about the ZMF Classics, another T50 mod. If you're interested in a comparison between these, the Talos 2 and the Mod House Argons, that video is coming Friday, so subscribe if you're not already. Now, this is the third installment of a review for the T50 mods. I did a review on Monday of the Talos. I don't recommend that headphone very much, but we're going to talk about it in the comparison anyways. I have already done quite a few months back now the Mod House Argon review. There's a link to both those reviews in the description down below. I do recommend that headphone. This headphone I do also recommend, but for different reasons. Now we'll talk comparatively, of course, in the actual comparison. For now, let's go ahead and jump into the build and attributes. Now starting off, like every other T50 mod in this price range, you get a different pair of pads, a little bit of workings with the driver, and a custom head strap. And I'm actually not a huge fan of this head strap because it's pretty stiff. And I'm not really sure what the point of it going on here, because I don't really think it kind of adds any more towards the comfort aspect compared to the stock iteration. But you do get kind of a genuine leather headband, so I guess if you're into that, you get it. But compared to the Talos and the Argon, the head strap is not very comfortable. The pads, however, are very, very comfortable. I like these pads a lot, although not as much as the ZMF Proteins that are actually on or an option on the Argon. Regarding the power output, it's kind of difficult for me to tell you exactly. I do know that it's still listed at 50 ohms, but I don't know what the sound pressure level is. I can say that it is more power dependent than the Argon and the Talos. It does require quite a bit of power. And short of the HE6, it's probably the hardest to drive headphone that I've had here. So sound quality. Overall, this is the tightest sounding headphone of the three. The vocal presentation is very forward. You get this very, very focused sound compared to the really, really bright sound of the Talos and the kind of open overall sound signature of the Argon. So treble performance is a little bit harsh. It's just kind of right over my level of what I consider to be comfortable all the time. For most music, it's not that big of a deal, but every once in a while I hit a song where I can't do it. I have to skip it just because the treble performance is a little sharp. Now, mid-range performance definitely benefits from the tightness in the treble, especially when you're talking about finishing off the, the crispy notes of a vocalist. These can be incredibly good at vocals. And between the three that I've reviewed and compared here, this has the best vocal tonality and performance and focus of the three. So if your music heavily envelops a lot of vocal-based music, specifically females, I think that this is the way to go. Now, bass response is very, very good. Not as much as the Argon. Again, we're gonna talk about all this stuff in the comparison, but I'm just trying to help you draw a comparison just for this review. But if you want more information, I highly recommend waiting until the comparison video. So I don't know why I'm putting it off like over there, like the comparison is that way. I don't know what that means, but whatever. Okay, so the bass response is nice and the mid-range is nice. For acoustical instruments, they are very, very nicely detailed, especially with, again, those finishing touches of the treble, which allow for the texture in the strings to really come across very, very well. So pretty much all good there, except for a little bit of brightness in the treble, a tiny bit of sibilance as well, depending on the song. The one thing that this doesn't do very good, in my opinion, is soundstage. Similar to the Talos, at least in comparison to the Argon has kind of this enveloping soundstage where you kind of feel like music is all the way around you. This feels like it's either very focused in the center or very far right, very far left. Now it does have, in my opinion, better soundstage and room environmental information than the Talos does, which I felt was a little bit lacking on the Talos actually. This does have a lot of properties that make live music, live recordings of an entire room seem very, very full of life, although the soundstage representation is not as good as other T50 mods that I've tried, specifically being the Argon. But the imaging is fantastic. It just doesn't have a great room display, but regarding the texture and kind of the environmental information, it's very, very detailed, but not represented perfectly or as well as it could be at least. So I think that's gonna wrap me up into the conclusion. And if you notice, I'm trying to keep these reviews kind of shorter because there's not really a whole lot to say about these headphones. They all, to me, sound like interpretations of exactly what they are. They are a Fostex T50 mod. And mods generally tend to take it kind of one way, being like a dark sound signature being like the Argon, to a bright sound signature being the Talos. This, to me, kind of fits right in the middle. but I'll give you more information on which one would probably be best for you in the actual comparison video. Now, the question becomes, do I recommend this specific headphone at, I think about $300 to $350 is right where it's at. Do I recommend it over other $300 to $350 headphones, not including the other T50 mods? To be honest with you, no, I don't. I think there's a number of better options that are cheaper that will give you really, really good performance depending on what you're looking for. Specifically mid-range, you got the HT58X, HT6XX, you also have the K7XX if you're into soundstage, you've got the 4XX. I know they're all Massdrop exclusives, but still, that's kind of where the market has gone, is really, really low priced, very, very good performing headphones for not a massive amount of money. Also in this price range, we're talking about M1060s, M1060Cs, and Sundaras, I think if they're on sale for $350. So there's a lot of options that are very, very good in this range. And even though this is a fun, easy to listen to headphone, it just doesn't have the raw performance to back up the price in the modern era. All right, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to the person who chooses to remain anonymous for sending this out to review. And thank you very much to the patrons who help support the channel on a continuing basis. You guys seriously kick ass. Until the next video, guys, my name is Josh, signing off.